Hey, welcome back. Wow. My name is Russ, as hopefully some of you remember, and if you do, thank you so much for keeping your subscription to my channel, which I've not done anything on in 4 years. 4 years. For those of you who don't have any idea who I am, I shoot YouTube videos on car repairs because I was a mechanic many years ago when I was younger. Like so many young teenagers, I became obsessed with old antique trucks and cars, and pretty much all self-taught, with the exception of working in the OJT. Best school ever for me was on the job. Anyway, I used to be a mechanic years ago. I studied professional video and audio in college, and I've worked in that for a couple of decades now. I was an engineer. Now I'm a tech specialist. I do work for higher ed as still. So anyway, I have missed my YouTube channel so much. A lot has changed for me in the last 4 years. It's just been absolutely surreal. I have a new shop, which I've not even completely outfitted yet. I have to build some benches. I have a lift. Whew, dream. I have a lift. It's a low profile, light duty lift. But it's way better than nothing. I got to tell you that. I love it. But before I get started back into this, I wanted to take the opportunity, first of all, to thank tremendously all of you who have watched my videos, who have asked me questions, and I apologize, I've not been active on my channel. I used to be heavily active, loved answering questions and helping. I've helped people from all over the world with their cars. There's nothing better than to feel like you're actually helping people who from so far away. I love that, just love it. So I'm ready to get started on this stuff again. I'm investing in some new gear, etc. But before we dive into more content, I wanted to also talk about a little bit about what happened, and then that'll be this video, and then I will put up some content on actual car repairs. I want you to take a look at this elbow right here, right here. It's a big scar. On that last video that I put up, that Dodge truck, if you look, you will see, oops, touched my microphone. You will see a mole right there. I had that mole for well over 10 years. Well over 10 years. And more than 10 years ago, I went to my doctor and I wanted him to cut it off. And he said, man, let's just keep an eye on it. 8 years or so later, my college-age daughter who was studying nursing came home with her anatomy and physiology book. Plop. Opened the book and said, Dad, look, that looks like your elbow. And it said melanoma. I said, yeah, it does. So when I was shooting the video on the Dodge, I kept bumping it and stuff. And it was just in a bad place. But when I was doing the Dodge, it got bloody and sore and angry. It hurt. It had never done that before, ever. So I went to the doctor, and I said, we need to get this off of there. Otherwise, I'm going to get another doctor. He's a good doctor. So we took it off, and they always have to biopsy everything. They chop off your body. You know, we all know that. He didn't think it was going to be anything. Well, you know the stories on TV where you see people get a call from their doctor, some drama thing. We need you in the office tonight after work. Well, that actually happened. Everything since then has been just strange and surreal and odd. I was in a surgeon's office the very next day, and he was teaching me all about melanoma. They had to cut, they had to cut way deep in there to get it all out. So far, so good. It's been 4 years. I've moved. I live alone. It's a much different life for me now than it was back then. But this stuff for me, it never changes. I could probably live in Iceland, and I'd figure out a way to build a shop, right? So, 2 things I wanted to mention before we end this about moles. Well, I'll mention what I can remember about moles. And I know you'd never think you'd hear about moles from me, but I just think it's important that I take the time to do this, and thank you so much for watching, and then we're going to get right back into working on cars, okay? First of all, if you have a mole that's bigger than the head of a eraser on a pencil, you really ought to have it taken off. Other indicators are moles should be symmetrical in shape. They shouldn't look like a continent where they have a ragged edge on them. That's not good. Another one is their color needs to be like a pretty much all one color. If you've got blotchy shades of brown, not a good indicator either. And as I recall, being nodular, sticking out, which mine did. Literally, you could run your hand over my mole and you could feel it stick out. That's not good either. If you have any of that kind of stuff going on, get yourself to your doctor, have them cut it off, and if it's like my doctor and they resist, go to a dermatologist. Don't even mess around with it. I'm serious. It's worth the... I can't tell you how much this has financially strained me over these last 4 years. So get it taken care of if you have any concerns at all. My older sister, she sunbathed. That was a thing back then. She baked herself like a piece of bacon with oil back in the day, you know. So she's always really concerned these days about. She's good too. I don't know where this came from or why it happened or what, but I'm sure glad I decided to have it chopped off, right? So before we get into this and this and this, I wanted to mention that. I wanted to say thank you so very much for hanging in there. And we're going to roll into transmission, transfer case, and that thing. And then I also have another video that I shot before I moved that I'm putting together as well. Okay? All right. So we'll see you on the next one. Thank you again for joining me. And watch those moles. All right.